Welcome to Fight Club. If you can see this and you're looking behind, my dogs, of course, of course picked this moment to fight. Um, Welcome to the EdTechTo. The ed, Welcome to Fight Club, although it's paused at the moment. Oh, there it goes. Of course, my dogs decided that, well, honestly, it's probably going to be more entertaining than whatever I'm going to talk about today anyway. Welcome to the EdTechTo podcast. My name is now Dr. Scott Azar, and I'm excited to have you here to check out this video. If you're listening on Spotify, it does have video, but if you're on YouTube, obviously you're watching this. But of course, I'm going to try to do my best with the audio to make sure it makes the most sense. So it has been... I closed the door. It has been quite a long time, and if you have checked out any of my other videos, you might notice that the background is a little different. I've been on quite the hiatus because I was finishing my doctorate on artificial intelligence in New York State K-12 education, and then I did work with Texas A&M. I was at the ISTE conference, and now as soon as I got home, my wife and I are made a nursery, and so now I've condensed into our guest room for now. And so here's my new background for a little while, which actually is pretty nice. It got a window. It's better than the vacuum cleaner and some of the other stuff there. So I guess it ended up being an improvement. But anyway, more importantly, let's get down to what's been kind of on my mind for quite a while after ISTE. So at the ISTE conference in San Antonio this year, 2025, there was a lot about AI. And what I've noticed is a lot of the conversation kind of seems to be stagnant. And even after 3 years, there's very little about how we're moving this forward, how we're using it with students. There's really not many platforms out there that are really engaging students with using AI properly, which I think I would have expected to be a little bit further. And maybe that's because, although the information's getting better, it's not quite there yet where it's 100% of the time accurate. But having said that, over the 3 years, I mean, if you've been using any of these large language models, they have gotten way better over time. And so I tried to find sessions at the conference that were going to be things that I would find interesting and something that just moved the needle, because at this point I get the basics. I know a lot about what it could do. And what I stumbled on, oddly, were some really good sessions, but one in particular really had me start to think more about something that I did in 2018, where I was working in the DOE, the New York City DOE, on one of their field support centers during the time I was doing my master's for school and district leadership. You had to do a district-wide internship. And so on the internship, I was working for the Bronx Field Support Center. And the task that I had to do was, I don't remember 100%, but I had to use a very large spreadsheet. And I had to try to, basically I had to email each principal how many of their students under certain circumstances were basically, I think it was being truant. I think that's what it was. Anyway, this was taking there was 4 or 5 of us, and it probably took us 50 hours, and that's a person. So now we're talking about 200 hours of time going through a spreadsheet, finding all the emails on another spreadsheet, emailing all the principals with the names, and it was just mind numbing. And I can't imagine, I was doing work as an intern, and so I mean, I guess maybe they're keeping those interns coming, pretty frequently, but what happens, I just don't understand how anybody can sit and just do this for a long time. And so I am of the mindset of certain things, in the classroom, if a student can do it, they should do it. And in this case, if my computer could do it for me, it should do it for me. because it would save me a lot of work and I can actually get to like, what am I learning about district leadership by doing that? I mean, besides the fact that, wow, there are a lot of kids under this circumstance, like that's really it. I'm not really bettering myself as a school or a potential school leader. So I searched the internet, and I remember a long time ago, not even that long ago, I guess, really. Technology, I guess, just moves a little bit fast. I learned about macros. And if you don't know what a macro is, it's basically just like a scripted set of instructions behind the scenes. It's coding, and code will tell the spreadsheet to do certain things for you. And I ended up taking the macro and it actually ended up crashing the computer a whole bunch of times because even the computer had a hard time doing all of that work because it was so much data to process. But eventually what I ended up having was it took that master worksheet and it separated them by school. So then I could just email out the individual ones. And just that alone saved, I mean, probably at least 100 hours easily. I think in the end, it saved like almost 150 because what we ended up doing was now that we had a spreadsheet with the title of each school, we could just email it. And so it was just a matter of emailing. So I think it took us maybe each 2 days. I think it was 8 hours total per person. But still from 50 hours to 8 hours is a huge time saving. So fast forward now to 2025, and I learned something so obvious. It was right in front of my face the entire time, and I never made the connection. Why don't I automate the things that I do with like Google Sheets? There's a lot probably as a teacher you're doing with a Google Sheet. You know, I use it to track my extra help. I have it track when kids come and go from my classroom because if someone asks me like, where did this kid go? And I don't know. When did they leave? I don't remember. Look at when they signed the book. Some of them signed the book. Some of them don't sign the book. Some of them put the time, don't put the time. And so I have students fill out a Google form really quick, nothing lengthy, literally just like what period are you? They pick their name from a drop down so they don't accidentally misspell it or something like that. And then where they're going. So it's basically three questions. And then this year I'm going to tell you why, but I'm going to be adding a time back in. So they're just going to sign in and just do the same thing. And I have a bunch of different spreadsheets for a bunch of different things, but what I was doing was sitting in the background trying to write all these formulas and do all this stuff to keep track of like how many times were kids coming back from the bath, or how many times were kids going to the bathroom, how many times were kids going to coming to extra help per person, and this just gave me better insight into my classroom, so I can get a better idea of maybe conversations that need to be had, or if somebody asked me something, I had that, and instead of saying, oh yeah, that kid goes to the bathroom a lot. And then they're like, well, how often? And then, you could do one of two things. You can just say, oh, I don't know. It's a lot. They probably go, X amount of times a week. Or saying, oh, I don't know. I have to go through my book and I got to keep, I'm going to look for all their names. And that's a lot of extra steps. Whereas if they're just filling out a Google Sheet, then I could just look and I can very easily say, oh, this kid has gone out 46 times this year. Well, yeah, that's a problem. Or, yeah, your child, I know your child told you they're coming to extra help every single day, but they've only signed up for extra help 3 times. And these were the dates. And this is what time they showed up, right? So your argument there is data based and it's concrete. So, I found a lot of times that really gives you, not that it's about the getting the upper hand, but I mean, it does. It gives you the upper hand. So anyway, to make a long story short, I had the revelation after a really great session at ISTE. I wish I could remember the person's name because I would love to give them the credit for it. And I might have it somewhere, but dummy, why don't I use AI to help me code the scripts for the background? Because I don't know how to code, but AI knows how to code. And so this is something that I've been kind of toying with, but I think has a tremendous amount of applications. Before I show it, let me just paint this picture. Imagine on a student's birthday. Now, depending on the LMS you have, we use Infinite Campus in my school district, and Infinite Campus is not very user-friendly at all. If anyone from Infinite Campus stumbles upon this video, like we need to talk because it's an awful platform for so many things. It's great for some, but it's also just not user friendly. But somewhere in there is a birthday thing, and I it's never in my view of when a birthday is. So either way, I'm going to have a separate sheet. So imagine that in the morning of a kid's birthday, they all of a sudden get an email from you, and it says, "Hey, I just wanted to say happy birthday, just in case I don't get a chance to in class or I'm busy and I forget. Happy birthday." And it can also CC you on that email, so now it's the kid's birthday, and you can remember to tell them that it's their birthday, happy birthday when they get there. Or let's say that you have students missing labs and you have to email guidance and you have to email parents, right? And you could sit there and go through and counting them all. But what happens if that could just be done for you and you didn't even have to, and you could just get CC'd on that email? That's what the power of a Google Apps script could be. And now AI can help you code all of that. So this is truly the first time. There's so many applications for this, and I would love comments in the comment section of other things that you wish these spreadsheets could be able to do. Because again, what I'm thinking is, let's say kids go to the bathroom. You have those students that go to the bathroom every single period. Sometimes they go every single day and every single period. And so what if we had a way, which we now do, to say, okay, if a kid is now going to the bathroom 3 out of 5 days of the week, it's going to email the parent, email the guidance counselor automatically and say, hey, this is Dr. Azar, just reaching out to let you know that your child has gone to the bathroom 3 days this week. It's a concern because when they go out for X amount of time, which is where the time in, time out comes from, it could add it up for you. And then, it's really taking away from the instruction. And obviously, I really want to make sure that they're developing the proper skills that they're going to need to be successful, not only on my tests, but when they get out into the real world. These are all opportunities to develop these skills that they're missing, or time to work on projects, whatever it is. You get to customize the message too, which is even better. So that's where the power of this is. And again, there are so many applications for scheduling. It can go on and on and on, but I don't want this to go on and on and on. But what I have been doing is, as I stumble into these, I have been creating videos. And so this one I'm actually going to do as a podcast episode too, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the application of it also. But then just to also plug, if you're curious about what other things are being made, or as I'm making them, I'm making videos about it and putting them on my YouTube channel, Azar Sciences, plural, Azar Sciences, plural. That's also my Instagram and my TikTok, which I don't post a ton of those things on there. I need to be better about that. But nonetheless, go there to check out videos on what I'm talking about now in short form. But I also have videos on tons of platforms. Leave comments, subscribe and follow, obviously, if you feel that it would make sense for you. And then also reach out and let me know what kinds of things you would want, what platforms that I might have access to that I can do instructional videos. My goal and my passion is to help you figure out what it is you need to get back to work as quickly as you can, as effectively as you can, and to raise teacher efficacy with these. So with educational technology platforms, no matter what subject you teach. So having said that, let's get started here. I've preloaded my prompt. So when you're trying to create these app scripts, let me just flip the things that you could do. Let me just show you the setup first before the prompt, I guess. So I have a Google form here, and it's my Extra Help sign up. And it first asks the students what period they're in. None of these are mandatory. I do this because I want to just be able to track by period how many kids are coming to Extra Help. Again, when Google Forms collects these responses, it just gives me a little bit more insight into what period maybe kids are coming. And sometimes it's interesting to see, wow, you know what? I always kind of felt like this is my strongest class, but look, this class, last year, my first period, more kids came from there than any other period. And that was really good insight for me to say, maybe there is something that's happening there. Now, maybe not. Maybe the fact that they're just maybe more motivated students is the reason why they're coming to Extra Help. But could Extra Help also be the reason why it's increasing their, achievement as well? That could be a further thing, but at least it puts it on my radar. So they pick the period, and then they go and it will automatically bring them, depending on what they click, to whatever period they are. So each of my periods I have here, you'll see I have these are fake names. And they'll choose their name from the drop down. And then at the end for Extra Help, I just changed this now to collect, because the less that I have to read, the better of individual things. To me, it would be more helpful as a tally. You could also add an other option, which eventually could then turn into, if you have a bunch of kids doing something that you didn't think of, right? The other is better for that. And again, this will just help to give you better data analysis to figure out, a lot of kids are coming out for my labs. Like, what is it about my lab maybe that I need to change so less kids are coming to Extra Help? Now, maybe nothing, right? It could be. Maybe like it's just there are kids that want to come to Extra Help, which is great. But at the same time, it could give you a reflection point to say, maybe we need more class time to do that. There's a lot of kids that keep coming for this or whatever. Maybe it's just the same one or two. Anyway, once you have this set up, another thing that you want to set up is your spreadsheet. Now, this is the spreadsheet. Let me go back here. When you go to responses in your Google form and you view in Google Sheets, that's what this is here now. So it'll set up its own sheet. And then I added a sheet that also does the contact information. So this is why I did that. I found that it's a little bit better when you set this up prior. There are definitely going to be sheets that you want to have ready to go, because when you're prompting for your code, you want the code to be as precise as possible so it generates the least errors possible. So with that, here's my code. Let's create an app script for my classroom. This is what I'm thinking. So let me know if I can do this in one script or I need to do multiple scripts. All right. So step one, a student signs into Extra Help. They pick their name, their period, and what they're here to do. At first, a new sheet will be created called data analysis, and the app script helps count the occurrences of the attendance with separate columns for each period. Maybe another section on the sheet with what type of help students are coming for. So basically, I want it to have the child's name and how many times they're coming to Extra Help. You could word it as easily as that too. I just wanted it separate by period. It just helps me track these things a little bit better. And then the next thing, after 3 occurrences, an automated email would go out to the parent, reinforcing their hard work and summarizing what they did while at Extra Help. The parent email is in column D. The parent email in column D is in column D and is on the sheet titled Contact, along with the student's email, which is in column C. Let's CC the student, and let's CC me at azarsciences@gmail.com. I know it's going to send myself. So one of the things I recommend is when you do this, send it to even if you have to make some extra emails at first, it'll just save you from an accidental embarrassment. I always just try to test this to make sure it's sending it to the right person. I haven't had an issue with that yet, but I would rather know that it's doing what it's supposed to do first. I always have been asking it to CC me, because anything it automates, I don't want to just get caught blindsided and be like, I did send that. And this way, again, if something needs to be caught, if there was a mistake, you getting emailed will also help you. Or we can actually, let's BCC me at scottazar@gmail.com. So once you have everything you want the script to do, notice I didn't put any code. I just described, man, this would be great. This is what I want to happen. So I click it and it's going to do its thing. Now I I've never used the new GPT-5. I do pay for it, ChatGPT subscription. Not telling you that you have to. I was using 4.1 and it was doing great. I do like that it kind of pulls some triggers in. I mean, it shows me it's thinking, right? It's going to tell me what the script is going to do. It's going to tell me how to create it, which I already did. It's double checking that things are correct. It also did a good job telling me that the period is going to be optional for my reference. And then it's going to ask me to copy and paste this. So once this is done, I'm going to show you where this goes here in a second, or while that's generating. So on your Google Sheet, you're going to go to extensions. And then you're going to go to AppScript. And it's going to pop up this window. And you can change this to the name of what this code's going to do. Actually, data tracker and parent email. Okay. You can give this a name because it'll get saved in your Google Drive. So it's a parent email. Okay. Now let's see, there's some code here. So now I'm going to take this. I'm going to just copy it. I'm going to come here back to my app script, and you're going to select everything. You want to get rid of all the stuff that's in there, and you're simply just going to paste the code from AI into there. Now, your next big step, you must click the floppy disk, which will save your project. And then it's as easy as just hitting run. The first time you do this, it's going to ask you to review the permissions. It is safe. It's your code. Also, you'll notice one of the benefits of this as well is it doesn't give ChatGPT or anybody else any of the private, personally identifiable information, rather, for your students. Everything's contained in the Google ecosystem, which should be, which is approved. So now you'll also see that it's going to ask, it wants to be able to send the email. So this is going to be sending emails from your email. Now you could also, if you don't want to do this, you can also do other things where it just emails you or provides you with a notification and then you will email. So what you could actually have it do as well, let's say you're a little worried about it generating the emails for you. What you could do is say, email me when a student has come 3 times. Also pull the parent email from the spreadsheet and put that in the email as well. And so it could draft the email, send you the email, and send you the contact information. And then from there, you can do it and tweak it the way you want. That could be a great way to do it. I just would rather it do the whole thing for me. Okay, so that's it. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to come back to my form. And make sure your form is published, because that was something that I realized the other day. Okay, then I'm going to copy this and I'm going to, so here's my form. I'm going to pick the same student. I'm going to do Alex. I'm going to do test review. Cool. First period, Alex, lab. 2, first period, Alex, homework. Now I'm just going to pick some random kids, because now what should be happening, but I haven't felt the email coming yet. So that tells me that I'm going to have to tell the computer or the program that there was a problem. All right. So let's see. So I have 5 responses, right? You can see who's coming by period, what they're getting help with, all not Google Apps Script stuff. Oh, actually, hold on. I realized that I am on Do Not Disturb for this. Let's see. Okay. So I got emails that I had 5 students respond for extra help, but I didn't have it automatically send, which I've noticed sometimes is the problem. One of the things that needs to happen sometimes is that the trigger needs to be changed. So I'm going to go back to my code and say, I tested this script by submitting Okay, so I said I tested the script by submitting the same name 3 times, and the test emails did not send, right? And again, telling it what it's doing and what it's not doing should get you. Oh, okay. So what I read really quickly, let me try one more. It said it could be because it's supposed to be more than 3 as opposed to 3. So let's just check that one kid again. Alex Rivera was now back to do another lab. Let's see if that sends it. So here, gotcha. Let's debug the 3 most common emails. The trigger wasn't installed or authorized. The headers don't match. The student's name was not found, so it was silently skipping it. What to do? Run setup once again to ensure triggers exist. It will check sheet names. Submit. Place this small patch in your script. Okay. So let's go to my script. Now on the left, there are some triggers. Okay. So it might be the trigger. So run setup once, assuring that run diagnose from editor. Select drop down. Let's see. Okay. So I just ran it again just to make sure. Let's see if I get the email from that. While that's doing that. Okay, still haven't. Okay, so I still haven't gotten it. So now let's paste this small script below your script. Okay, let's try that. So I'm going to make that change. I'm going to save it. Let's try that again. Checklist that fixes trigger. Run setup and then diagnostics, especially Gmail. So it did create my data analysis tab. Oh, this is the problem. What's the name of the sheet? Let's see. So the problem, I think, is that the responses are going to be recorded in a sheet titled, this was my rookie mistake, attendance log. So let's see if I change the name. I bet that's what happened. It's looking for a sheet. Yeah, it was looking for form response 1. Okay. So now let's see. Do I replace the on? Let's just rewrite the entire code so I can replace it complete. Now let's do that. And this is why I wanted to do it live. So this way you could actually see the step-by-step. And what happens when you troubleshoot, you know, I didn't want to do a video where I only show you when it works the first time, and then if you do it and it doesn't, because sometimes, I mean, honestly, more often than not, it's like silly stuff like this that happens. And it's like dumb little mistakes. So at least you get to see that. I know it's taking a little bit of time, and obviously you could skip through this if you want, but as it's generating the code, hopefully now. So what I'm going to do is just go back to my app script here. I asked it to rewrite the whole script. So once it's done, I'm writing its little heart away. Boom. Okay. Let's recopy the new script, paste it, save it, run it. Now let's see. Okay, executed complete. So let's just see if it's going to be an epic fail. Execution log. Let's see. Still not running. Huh. All right. Works with your attendance log, rebuilds the data analysis. Well, let's see if the data works better. Yeah, it's not really doing any data analysis either. Now I'm curious to just see if I trade this out for a different. One of the other things I did find too is, let me just, I'm going to just take a screenshot of, if this helps, here is how the Google form sets up the headers. And actually, I'm going to make a bigger, I'm going to actually take it with some of the names so it sees how it's getting laid out. To be honest, this is about the longest it's ever taken to do, but I'm also doing the most complicated one for the video while this figures out what it's trying to do. Some of the other ones that I've done already are, I had to, so when I work with Texas A&M, we have people flying from all over the country into College Station. And so we had to try to organize when people are going to show up. So when they filled out the form, it would put on a Google Sheet what time they're coming in, what day they're coming in, and where we would pick them up and the time and everything like that. So that was automated. So I didn't have to keep checking that form. And I sent myself an email when new people were going with some of the information in there, just to kind of give me a heads up. The other thing I did, that one also took a little while because I was making a stupid mistake, was now when participants completed it, I wanted to check their grade. And then once I basically put in a column that to send, the app script would run once a day. And at the end of the day, it would send the script to the person that now says send next to. So that was those have been really helpful. And it actually pulled the certificates out of my Google Drive and used my email to send the personalized certificate to that person because I had a contact sheet with their name on it. And so it was an easy way to give my professional development certificates. And again, if you want to see how that was done, I believe I made a video showing that one. And yeah, it is still going. So again, this is like I said before, I did a poor job with making sure that when I write this, I'm being as specific as possible. I was specific with the one tab, but I stupidly forgot the way that this Google form is set up is a little bit funky. I would maybe try to set up a new Google form. I don't know why it makes all those extra columns with the same information. So that could be the problem. So let's just copy this one again. And let's see, they say third time's the charm. And let's see, I'm going to save it. I'm going to run it. Oh, it's thinking hard. Now, okay. Let's just try. Sometimes it also will go the next time something gets submitted. So I'm just going to have Alex really be a great student. This kid is coming all the time. Oh, we have it. So let's look at there it is. We are so proud that Alex Vera has now attended Extra Help 5 times. Their most recent visit was on August 10th. The focus of help, lab assignments, and you'll see the other one just showed up too. So there we go. Now I'm getting BCC'd and CC'd with that information. So that's really what it was. It was just I made silly mistakes in how I did that, which is awesome. So now it probably caught. Let's pick a Bella. Let's just see what happens if I do Bella now. 1. Because now I want to see it should go after 3. So hopefully third time will be a charm here. So this should be any minute now. It should process that there were 3. And while it's trying to figure out that, it did it. Yep. So that was my problem. All right. I'll give my computer a second here to catch up. But the other thing I want to check now is, because now this works, I want to check my data analysis tab. There it is. All right. So here's period 1, Alex and Bella. Cool. So again, just wanting to give myself, so I get, oh, here, I guess on my phone it takes, but there's Bella and there's Bella. So perfect. So that's working great. And you can customize this. If you want the message to say something specific, just tell it what you want the message to say and it'll say it. So let's just do now a period 5 child. I just want to make sure it works with. So again, this will just take a little bit, but now I'm noticing that the students for period 3 and period 5 aren't being pulled up, right? So again, in real-time troubleshooting. Now, the good thing is once you do this, you don't have to keep remaking scripts. You can make the script once, and then you just can change. So yeah, and you just change the data on a sheet. So if you want this to pull all of your lab grades or you could do grade analyses and emails and all that, what you would do is actually keep this sheet and don't touch the scripts, don't touch anything. And you would just copy and paste your data into it. And then it would either run automatically or depending on how you want it to work, you could actually hit the run. So the data analysis works for period 1, but it's not working for periods 3 and 5 because they are found in, and now I'm going to be much better. Period 3 is column C and column E. Column C and okay. In different columns. The period the student is in always shows up in column E. The period 3 names are being placed in column C, and for period 5, they are in column J. So that's really what this is. It's just a bunch of troubleshooting, but the good thing is once you make it, that's it. And even with talking, right, we've been here for about 40 minutes. Hoping that time you're thinking of all the other sheets that could be made. Again, I don't normally have this amount of issues, so I'm kind of happy that this is happening because I'd rather you see a more extreme version. I could show you a much simpler version on another episode because I really do think that this is something worthwhile and worth sharing. And actually, if you really want to see some easier ones on my YouTube channel, I put up 2 of them. I think one of them is about 7 minutes. One of them is about 3 minutes. So this is truly an extreme one because I think what happened was the Google form got set up by Google, the Google Sheet rather was set up funny by Google Forms. So now what's also nice about this is if you are curious how codes happen, it is kind of nice that it gives you a little bit of an information. For a single row, pick only the non-empty value, right? I like that it's telling me. So if I really wanted to learn how things are done, you could kind of learn some basic coding ideas on, whatever large language model you enjoy. This I don't know the answer to, but would be cool or interesting to see is, does Gemini do a better job than Chat or Claude, whatever, but does Gemini do a better job because it's a Google app making a Google script? I don't know. So let's see, it is still going. So we're going to probably just remove all this. And then hopefully, even though third time was in fact a charm, fourth time will hopefully be even better. And it will do everything. Save. Run. Okay. Did it say execution complete? I didn't check that. Okay, great. So again, sometimes what you have to do is it won't automatically do that. Sometimes you just have to, the next time it gets run. Now let's look at the data. There it goes. Okay. At least it's doing it this time. Again, this would be something that you just have to reiterate and just say, this is how it came. I would rather have separate the students, or put spaces between, put a column as a spacer in between periods 1, 3, 5, 9. You could also say, put the students in A and B for period 1 and D, E for period 3, something like that. But at least it's working. And so now last thing I want to do is just double check. I'm going to check Owen a couple more times here. Owen is doing his lab. Owen is doing his, he's forced to come here by an adult. So now let's just double check that Owen is, Owen is getting to that. Now Owen is at 3 times. And if I check my email, boom. I'll give it a minute because I should have just set up my email so we could see that. but I did get an email. So now I'm fully working. Again, these are things that I could tweak as we keep going, but bam, celebrating Owen. So there's a lot of really cool uses for this. I hope you really enjoyed them. I will be making a lot more videos like this, but if you have anything that you're interested in with AI, with more script ideas, this also, by the way, works for all Google Workspace stuff, Drive, Sheets, calendars. You can anything that has the app script. I think all of the Google Workspace platforms have, or programs have, an app script thing. So if you want to check out some more of those, again, send in your comments, send in your questions, and I'll make some videos on it. But until then, thank you so much for coming to the Ed Tech Tecto podcast. Check out Azar Sciences on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and I'll see you here for the next episode.